Hello, it's the NFL exporter, Ty Goodman, and we're going to finish wrapping up our Week 10 overview of the 2013 NFL season. Moving right along, we had the New York Giants barely beat the Oakland Raiders 24-20. After the win for the Giants, both teams are now 3-6. For the Giants, they did get a boost with Andre Brown, running back who ran very hard last year, had been missing the majority of this year prior to this game due to an injury. Was able to come back and give him 115 yards on the ground and a touchdown. But on offense, the Giants continue to struggle mightily. Pass protection isn't there. Eli Manning just doesn't look comfortable back there in the pocket and isn't very sharp right now. Again, with receivers like Hakeem Nicks, Victor Cruz, Ruben Randall, a pretty reliable tight end in Brandon Myers, there's no excuse for the production to be where it is. This Giants team is just flat out lackluster, and I don't like what I'm seeing out of this Giants team. Very undisciplined, unable to execute. It's just not acceptable with the players that they have on this team. As for Oakland, a loss was pretty much accepted. I guess we tipped their hats for the effort after being clobbered last week at home and embarrassed by Nick Foles, setting a record with 7 TD passes, making a trip across country. The Raiders did show up and put up a hard fight. Unfortunately for them, injuries continue to be a concern, as starting quarterback Terrell Pryor went down with a sprained knee. He's week to week. I don't know how that'll fare. They're already without Darren McFadden, so the offense will have to make adjustments and move forward. The next game, we had Pittsburgh rebounding at home against Buffalo 23-10. I don't think anybody was surprised about that after being embarrassed, giving up over 50 points in New England last week. We all knew that Pittsburgh would come home and respond in the game. Not the most impressive victory, as the Steelers continue to struggle a tad bit, but the win did improve them to 3-6, while the loss dropped the Buffalo to 3-7. Ben Roethlisberger didn't have the best day at all, but made some key plays one time. And it was really the Steelers' defense holding the Bills' inexperienced offense in check. E.J. Manuel, the rookie quarterback for the Bills, returned. This Steelers defense was all over him. He's very uncomfortable. C.J. Spiller wasn't able to get anything going on the ground. Really was Fred Jackson. The Bills also lost yet again wide receiver Stevie Johnson to another injury. Very frustrating for this young man, as he just has not been able to stay on the field the last couple of years. Next, we had the Baltimore Ravens get a much-needed victory at 4-5 to keep their very slim playoff chances alive. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, who now dropped to 6-3. In this game, we've pretty much seen Andy Dalton continue to struggle as he has on the road and against defenses who are a little bit tougher, especially in his division. He doesn't fare well against the Clevelands, the Ravens, the Steelers. The ground game really wasn't very effective, although rookie Giovanni Bernard continues to show he's got a lot of pop in his step and is going to be a very good player in this league one day. But ultimately, the Cincinnati made a huge mistake going for it on 4th and inches on their side of the field to start off the game. The Ravens were able to convert that into an early touchdown and really never look back. The Cincinnati has some huge questions they have to answer. That offensive line, as you heard me say in other video clips I'm sure you've seen, it's porous, in pass protection. Andy Dalton's under a lot of duress, and he doesn't seem to have the skills yet to know how to manipulate the pocket, move around and slide to keep his eyes upfield and deliver the ball. He also does not have the best arm strength, and as in the outside games it gets a little windier, I'm really questioning if Cincinnati is going to be able to pass their way into the playoffs without a running game. I really think they have to get that established. As for the Ravens, win is a win, but it was very ugly. Joe Flacco and that offense continues to be very shaky. Ray Rice, another game, 18 carries, 30 yards. Running game just pathetic. And in my personal opinion, they have the wrong scheme in. Rice is a downhill, one-cut, upfield, north and south type runner. This new zone blocking scheme and trying to have him run out the wildcat and the pistol, it's just not his game. They need to get back to some power eye football with fullback Vonta Leach and pound the ball straight down up and down the field. With that being said, though, they're trying to implement this new zone blocking scheme system, and it just doesn't seem to be the right fit. Next in line, we have the Carolina Panthers with a very impressive victory, 10-9 over the San Francisco 49ers. This was a defensive slugfest, as you would expect, and Carolina was able to come out on top. Again, there wasn't a whole lot of stats involved in this game. Cam Newton was effective, converting key third downs when necessary. DeAngelo Williams was able to break loose for a 20-yard scamper to put Carolina ahead. And the 49ers really struggled in pass protection. Here's another game where we've seen that Anquan Bolden was not able to get open, and these other receivers they have, they just can't create separation. Carolina is very stout against the run, so they were able to hold Frank Gore in check. And we also seen Vernon Davis go down with an injury, so we have to monitor that and see how serious that is. But Carolina continues to breathe right down New Orleans' neck and setting up a big showdown as they're 6-3, just one game off the Saints at 7-2. Meanwhile, the 49ers fall 2 games back in the loss column at 6-3 and have a huge matchup going to New Orleans this Sunday. Next in line, we've seen the Arizona Cardinals beat the Houston Texans 27-24. The win improved Arizona to 5-4, while the Texans are 2-7. Their season is pretty much done now. Arian Foster is rumored, or I shouldn't even say rumored, Arian Foster is out for the year with the back injury. They also recently cut former Pro Bowler Ed Reed, who they brought over from the Ravens, due to some comments he said. So frustration's really setting in there without head coach Gary Kubiak, and this thing has really gone from bad to worse really quick in Houston. Meanwhile, Arizona's defense continues to be stellar at home. They play really good defense at home. Guys like Calais Campbell, Darnell Dockett, Dan Williams on that front line, guys on that second level, Carlos Dansby, Darrell Washington, and in the secondary, Patrick Peterson, Kerry Rose. I really like that unit, especially at home. And Carson Palmer was able to do enough in the air with the last-second touchdown to Andre Roberts to squeeze out the win for the Cardinals. In our last couple games, we've seen the Broncos defeat the San Diego Chargers 28-20. Looked a little bit better than what it was. Denver actually got out to a 28-6 lead and was able to hold them off. Peyton Manning continues to be stellar. 3 TD passes, this time all to Demaryius Thomas. 4 TD passes, 390 yards. 3 of those passes were to Demaryius Thomas, who's just one of the most explosive, best young wide receivers that we have in the NFL today. He also hit a 76-yarder to Julius Thomas, who is really showing he's one of the best tight ends in the league. The win bumped up Denver to 8-1. They have a big-time Sunday night matchup this week versus the Kansas City Chiefs for first place. Meanwhile, the loss dropped San Diego to 4-5 and left them searching for answers as to how they're going to be able to try to get back in the playoff race. In our other game, we see New Orleans blow out Dallas 49-17. The win improved the Saints to 7-2. As always, especially on Sunday or Monday Night Football, Drew Brees was absolutely spectacular. The Saints set a record with 40 first downs. Drew Brees passed for 392 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jimmy Graham wasn't effective, but Darren Sproles, Pierre Thomas, Mark Ingram, Marcus Colston, these other guys really got it going. Kenny Stills. Drew Brees just one of the best in business. The Superdome is one of the hardest places in the NFL to win. Dallas had no answers. DeMarco Murray had a decent game on the ground, 89 yards, but Tony Romo passed for a season low, 128 yards, and Dallas really was never able to get anything going. They also lost inside linebacker Sean Lee, again for the second time in 2 seasons. He's their best playmaker, and just when DeMarcus Ware was coming back, they lose Sean Lee, who's really the glue to that second unit for the Cowboys. Always having his hand around the ball, making turnovers and key plays. So we'll see how they're able to deal with that loss, as this defense is really struggling as it has all season. Last but not least, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to get their first victory of the year, improving to 1-8, beating the lowly Miami Dolphins, who at 4-5 have all type of off-the-field issues with the Richie Incognito situation. Not too much spectacular went on here. Mike Glennon hit Taywan Underwood for a touchdown. The Dolphins, though, just continue to struggle in pass protection. They only had about 10 yards rushing on the ground. The ground game really sputtered, but after you lose 2 starting offensive tackles, I guess what else would you think? All right, that wraps up Week 10 in the NFL. We'll be right back to talk fantasy. It's the NFL Exporter, Ty Goodman.